Joining us now is medical correspondent Dr. Jennifer Ashton with more on Congresswoman Giffords' condition. Now, you've been actually in close touch with her neurosurgeon, Dr. Lamole. What's the very latest this morning?
Erica, she remains in critical condition. She is still on a ventilator, on some sedation, although they're lessening that. New information, good news that she is able to move both hands. So when she's following simple commands, she can do that with both her left and her right hand, although her left hand is much stronger than the right. That's significant because we know an injury to one side of the brain can affect movement on the other side of the body. Also new information, they've revised what they think was the bullet path. Initially, they thought the bullet had entered in the rear part of her brain and gone to the left front. Now they've reversed that, thinking the bullet went from the left front all the way to the back, and they've gotten that through evaluation of CAT scans as well as police video. Does not change her prognosis in any way, just more information.
There's also been the fact we heard about yesterday that she's breathing on her own. I didn't realize, though, a lot of times patients, even on a ventilator, will breathe on their own.
Absolutely. So in fact, most patients on a ventilator are able to breathe on their own. What it tells us in a patient who's had a brain injury, however, is that their brain stem remains intact. And it is typically one of the tests that are done on a critically ill patient who's had a brain injury. What they'll do is they'll reduce the sedation, they'll turn off the ventilator. As the carbon dioxide level in the blood rises, it's a reflex to allow us to take our own breaths. So again, optimistic that they'll be able to wean her off the ventilator at some point.
And everything, as we know, as the doctors stress, all that optimism is cautious optimism. And I found it interesting the doctor yesterday was very, very quick to say, look, we're not going to give you updates every day because this is her timeline. Is there any way to know what that timeline could be?
Well, in any trauma, you're talking about different intervals of time, and the chronology of that is typically hours to days in the beginning. Now, instead of days to weeks, it's really months to years when you're talking about recovery. And they are optimistic, but we have to put this into context. We remember James Brady, Bob Woodruff, both had severe brain injuries. We see a spectrum of their level of functioning, and we don't know where she will fall in that.
Real quickly before we let you go, too, brain swelling is, excuse me, continues to be a concern, even though they haven't seen much over the last couple days.
That's correct. Typically, it peaks on day 3. It can go on out to day 10. We know that her husband is there. He's holding her hand. That's incredibly helpful, that emotional support. She is aware of some things. So again, all very good signs, but cautious optimism is the key.
A good point. Never underestimate the importance of that emotional support.
Absolutely, very important.
Jen, thanks as always.
You bet.